Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. First, a big thank you again for your all recommendations. That's really very kind of you. And today's video is about the Newfoundland and Labrador histories and geography. So the title is How Newfoundland and Labrador Lost Their Independence, from the channel Geography by Geoff, link in the description below. Let's go!
Canada is a vast country comprising 10 provinces and 3 territories, but one province stands out due to its pretty long history of independence. Between 1907 and 1934, Newfoundland and Labrador, then known as the Dominion of Newfoundland, ran its own affairs in much the same way that Canada did. But they didn't last. So why did Newfoundland and Labrador give up its independence? And what would it look like today had it not? Canada's Atlantic provinces are so incredibly interesting. I love every single one of them. But Newfoundland and Labrador definitely have one of the most interesting geographies and fascinating histories. Newfoundland even has its very own offset time zone. But also, at one point, it was basically an independent country, and had things happened a little differently, it very well could have maintained its independence into today. But that didn't happen, and we're going to tell that geographic story right now. Wait, not quite. Sorry to take you away from the episode for a second, but tomorrow I have a new podcast and video project coming out that I'm really excited about called Around the World with Jeff, and I would love it if you checked it out. In each episode, I tackle a new country or state with a guest who's from there. The first episode will feature the Netherlands with Kaylee from the popular channel History with Kaylee. You can watch it right here on the channel, listen on whatever podcast app you prefer, or watch the full episode ad and sponsor free right now over on Patreon. I'm so excited by this because this is the exact kind of podcast that I would love to listen to every week. And because there didn't seem to be a similar one out there, I decided to just go ahead and do it myself. So check it out, and believe me, there are a lot of really fun episodes coming out.
Cool.
Newfoundland and Labrador, the easternmost province of Canada, is perhaps one of Canada's least known but most fascinating provinces geographically.
Yep.
The province is split between the island of Newfoundland and the mainland region of Labrador, each offering.
I didn't know this province before discover it with those videos and your comments.
Distinct geologic and topographic features. Newfoundland, the more popular part of the province, is an island located in the North Atlantic Ocean. The island is approximately 109,000 square kilometers in size and boasts a rugged coastline that stretches over 17,000 kilometers, marked by numerous bays, inlets, and peninsulas. The coastline's dramatic cliffs and fjords, such as those found in Grossmoor National Park, resulted from glacial activity during the last ice age. The park itself, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, features the Long Range Mountains, which are an extension of the Appalachian Mountains, and the Tablelands, a rare geologic formation of exposed mantle rock. The interior of Newfoundland is dominated by a mix of boreal forests, barrens, and wetlands. The landscape is dotted with numerous lakes and rivers, including the Exploits River, which is the longest river on the island. The central and western parts of Newfoundland feature rolling hills and plateaus, which give way to the more rugged terrain of the Long Range Mountains in the west. The highest point on the island is the Cabox, standing at 812 meters above sea level. Labrador, covering an area of just over 294,000 square kilometers.
I just understand. There is Newfoundland, the Iceland, and Labrador, the other part. Okay.
Is part of the Canadian Shield, one of the oldest geologic formations on Earth. This region is characterized by its ancient, hard, Precambrian rock formations. The landscape of Labrador is a mixture of coastal plains, rocky plateaus, and mountain ranges. The Torn Gap Mountains in northern Labrador are among the most notable features, with Mount Kopvik reaching an elevation of 1,652 meters, making it the highest peak in the province. The Torn Gap Mountains are part of the Arctic Cordillera, and the region is known for its spectacular glacial valleys and fjords. The climate of Newfoundland and Labrador varies significantly due to its geography. Newfoundland experiences a maritime climate with cool summers and mild winters, heavily influenced by the surrounding Atlantic Ocean. The island's weather can be highly variable, with frequent fog, especially along the coast. Labrador, on the other hand, has a subarctic climate in the south and an Arctic climate in the north. Winters in Labrador are long and harsh, with heavy snowfall and temperatures often dropping well below freezing. Summers are short and cool, with coastal areas experiencing milder conditions due to the influence of the Labrador Sea. The province's flora and fauna are adapted to its diverse climates and terrains. Boreal forests comprising species such as black spruce, balsam fir, and white birch dominate much of Newfoundland and southern Labrador. The tundra landscape of northern Labrador supports hardy vegetations like lichens, mosses, and dwarf shrubs. Wildlife in the province includes moose, caribou, black bears, and a variety of bird species. The coastal waters are home to marine mammals such as seals, whales, and seabirds, reflecting the rich biodiversity of the region's marine environment. Striking is how I would define Newfoundland and Labrador. Its rugged Atlantic coastline is truly something to behold. And while we typically think of Spain or France or Great Britain as having some of the oldest European settlements in the Americas, it would actually be the Vikings who made it here first. Oh, and if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe.
Okay.
As with most places I cover on this channel, Newfoundland and Labrador have a surprisingly long history of human population and settlement. And in fact, it's actually the home of the oldest European settlement. But we'll get to that in a minute. Long before European explorers arrived, Newfoundland and Labrador were home to multiple indigenous groups. The Beothuk, who lived primarily on the island of Newfoundland, are perhaps the most well-known, although their culture is now extinct. The Beothuk were hunter-gatherers who relied on marine resources and the island's interior for sustenance. In Labrador, the Innu and Inuit peoples have lived for thousands of years, each with distinct cultures and ways of life. The Inuit, inhabiting the northern parts of Labrador, traditionally relied on hunting marine mammals, while the Innu in the interior and southern regions were primarily caribou hunters. But unlike almost every other place in the Western Hemisphere, the first Europeans to reach Newfoundland were likely Norse explorers from Greenland and Iceland around the year 1000. Evidence of their settlement at Meadows Cove, a site on the northern tip of Newfoundland, provides a glimpse into this brief period of Viking exploration.
Yeah, I knew this. I have seen this in some article about the history.
However, it wasn't until the late 1400s that significant European exploration would begin, starting with the voyages of John Cabot in 1497, when he landed at Cape Bonavista on Newfoundland and claimed the land for England. Though it should be pointed out that historians disagree on whether he actually landed on Newfoundland, modern-day Nova Scotia, or even Maine. Regardless, Cabot's journey would begin Newfoundland's colonization. French and English interests soon clashed over the rich fishing grounds off Newfoundland's coast. The French established seasonal fishing stations along the island's shores, particularly in areas like Placentia Bay, while the English began to settle more permanently. This competition intensified in the 1600s, leading to a series of conflicts that would include Newfoundland, including the 9 Years' War and the War of Spanish Succession. The Treaty of Utrecht in 1713 marked a turning point, ceding French claims in Newfoundland to the British, but allowing the French to maintain certain fishing rights, which remained a point of contention for years. British colonization efforts increased throughout the 1700s, with settlements expanding beyond St. John's, the capital, and into other parts of the island. The Labrador coast was also of interest to both the British and French due to its strategic location and natural resources. By the end of the century, British control was firmly established, and Newfoundland became a British crown colony in 1825. Labrador, meanwhile, was administered as part of the colony of Newfoundland from 1809, though its boundaries remained a matter of dispute until the 1900s. The 1800s saw Newfoundland and Labrador develop its own unique identity, distinct from other British colonies in North America. The economy was primarily driven by the cod fishery, but sealing and other maritime industries also played crucial roles. Newfoundland's political landscape evolved with the establishment of representative government in 1832 and responsible government in 1855. Despite these advances, economic challenges persisted, including periodic downturns in the fishing industry and the devastating impact of the Great Depression in the 1930s. In 1934, facing severe financial difficulties, Newfoundland relinquished self-government and became a dominion under the direct control of a British-appointed commission. This period of direct rule lasted until after World War II, during which Newfoundland's strategic importance was underscored by the establishment of several military bases. The post-war era brought new opportunities and challenges, leading to renewed discussions about Newfoundland's future. The debate over joining Canada was intense and deeply divisive. In 1948, 2 referendums were held to decide the issue. The second referendum, held on July 22, 1948, resulted in a narrow majority favoring Confederation with Canada. On March 31st, 1949, Newfoundland officially became the 10th province of Canada, under the leadership of Joey Smallwood, who became the province's first premier. Labrador's status as part of the province was later affirmed by the Canadian government. If you didn't catch it, for a relatively short period of time, Newfoundland and Labrador was its own country called the Dominion of Newfoundland. And were it not for a series of unfortunate events, it could very well have continued to be its own country today.
I didn't know it was so recent. And before starting this series of video about Canada and province, I thought Canada was more monolithic country. But it's not the case. Very interesting.
The Dominion of Newfoundland, established as a self-governing dominion within the British Empire in 1907, faced a series of challenges that ultimately led to its failure as an independent country. The primary reasons for this failure include economic hardships, political instability, and external pressures. From its inception, Newfoundland's economy was heavily dependent on the fishing industry, which was subject to the volatile nature of global markets and environmental factors. The Great Depression of the 1930s exacerbated these vulnerabilities, leading to widespread unemployment and economic distress.
These Great Depressions had a very huge impact in all the world.
Collapse of fish prices and a significant reduction in export markets left Newfoundland's economy in ruins. The government, unable to manage this fiscal crisis, accrued substantial debt. Political instability also played a critical role in the downfall of the Dominion. Successive governments struggled to address the economic challenges, leading to a loss of public confidence. Corruption and mismanagement further eroded trust in political institutions.
These histories remind me some situations now in France.
In 1934, the situation had become so dire that the Newfoundland government voluntarily suspended its self-governance, opting instead for direct rule by a British-appointed commission. This move was seen as a necessary measure to stabilize the economy and manage debt, but marked a significant step back from full independence. World War II provided a temporary economic boost due to increased military spending and the establishment of military bases in Newfoundland. However, the post-war period saw renewed economic difficulties. Faced with limited resources, a small population, and ongoing financial struggles, the prospect of joining Canada became increasingly appealing to many Newfoundlanders. In a 1948 referendum, the population narrowly voted for Confederation with Canada, leading to Newfoundland becoming a Canadian province on March 31st, 1949, the last province to be confederated. Had Newfoundland remained independent, its trajectory would have been markedly different. As an independent country, Newfoundland would have faced substantial challenges in maintaining economic stability. The fishing industry, while a vital part of the economy, would not have been sufficient to support a modern, diversified economy. Newfoundland would have needed to seek alternative sources of revenue and develop new industries to sustain its population. One potential avenue for economic development could have been the exploitation of offshore oil and gas reserves discovered in the late 1900s. As of 2021, Newfoundland and Labrador held an estimated 2.26 billion barrels of oil and extracted nearly 300,000 barrels per day. An independent Newfoundland could have negotiated its own terms for the extraction and export of these resources, potentially providing a significant boost to the national economy. However, managing these resources would have required careful planning and substantial investment in infrastructure and technology, the likes of which it didn't really have. Politically, an independent Newfoundland would have needed to navigate relationships with larger neighbors, particularly Canada and the United States. Maintaining sovereignty while fostering economic and security partnerships would have been a delicate balance. The small nation would have been vulnerable to external economic pressures and geopolitical dynamics, necessitating strong diplomatic strategies. Overall, while an independent Newfoundland could have potentially thrived by leveraging its natural resources and unique cultural identity, it would have faced considerable challenges in achieving and maintaining economic and political stability. The decision to join Canada, while controversial at the time, provided Newfoundland with the economic support and political stability needed to address its pressing issues. Today, as a Canadian province, Newfoundland and Labrador benefit from the resources and opportunities provided by a larger federation. Right now, Newfoundland and Labrador is home to about 540,000 people, and this would be overwhelmingly dominated by Newfoundland with about
Only? There's not much people.
510,000 people.
It's half of a big city in France, of Marseille. Wow.
Leaving Labrador with a scant 30,000 people across its vast territory. The largest cities in the province would be St. John's with about 110,000 people, followed by Conception Bay South with 27,000, Paradise with 23,000, and Mount Pearl with 22,000 people. The largest town in Labrador would be Happy Valley Goose Bay with a little over 8,000 people. Speaking
8,000 people? The biggest city in this area. It's similar to the small city I have close to my house. And I live, as I already said, in the countryside, in the forest, in the middle of France. There is nobody, close to nobody around me. Wow.
Of Labrador, you may have noticed that the Dominion of Newfoundland did not include the name Labrador, though it did include the land. So why did Labrador get added on when it became a Canadian province? When Newfoundland joined Canada in 1949, it officially added Labrador to its name to recognize the importance and distinct identity of the mainland region of Labrador. Prior to Confederation, the entity was simply known as the Dominion of Newfoundland, which referred predominantly to the island portion of the territory. However, Labrador, the vast mainland area that lies to the northwest of the island, had been part of Newfoundland's jurisdiction since 1809, a connection solidified by a 1927 Privy Council decision that settled a long-standing boundary dispute with Quebec. By including Labrador in the province's official name, the government aimed to honor the significant geographic and cultural contributions of Labrador to the province. This change acknowledged the integral role that Labrador played in the broader identity and economy of the region. Labrador's rich natural resources, including vast forests, mineral deposits, and hydroelectric potential, were crucial to the province's economic development and warranted recognition in the province's title. Additionally, adding Labrador to the name upon Confederation was a symbolic gesture to promote unity and inclusivity. It demonstrated a commitment to integrating the diverse communities within the province and ensuring that the voices and interests of Labradorians were represented in the new political framework of Canada. This move was meant to foster a sense of shared identity and partnership between the island of Newfoundland and the mainland of Labrador, strengthening the provincial cohesion as they became part of the Canadian Federation. And that's all there.
I just see the automatic translation. Right, Newfoundland instead of Newfoundland. But I guess I understand. Personally, I prefer Terre-Neuve.
Really is to it. Today, Labrador is a well-known and integral part of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland and Labrador are not independent today, but they very well could have been had the winds of history blown a bit differently. Today, of course, the province is firmly Canadian, and that likely won't ever change. But what if will always remain a question for residents of the province to ask themselves. Speaking of Canada and Newfoundland and Labrador, go check out some of these amazing maps right now and buy them. Every map you buy supports this channel, and you get a great map to adorn your walls. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, watch another. And check out my podcast as well. Those should hold you over until next week's latest video.
Well, thank you for this very interesting video. I learned a lot. Okay, a very, very interesting video from this channel, Geography by Geoff. I will dig this channel, and thank you to us. I guess the next province will be the New Brunswick. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. I will discover this province before Quebec. I have a little more knowledge about Quebec, and I will. I think Quebec will be a big piece. So next video, I think, will be about New Brunswick and the landscape, the food, the history and the geography, like this discover about Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you for watching. Please continue to comment and to give me some advice. I'm hungry to read you, and see you later. Bye bye.